Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a reading for the collective for the week of February 9th through the 15th, 2026. However, although it is geared in that direction, I always believe that when you find this reading, it's something that is meaningful for you. So don't let the date stop you from watching it anyways, even if the date has passed. Simply because when this finds you is when it finds you. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the dedication area, all of my pre-work before we begin our tarot reading. Okay, what you're looking at me digging through here, this is my grimoire, and I am pulling up my consecrations. So this is like a prayer, so to speak, that I do pre-tarot reading. Great Spirit, ancestors, and elements, guide me with wisdom and clarity. I honor my past, present, and future by walking in balance and trusting in your protection. May my tools reflect truth, not replace it, and I accept only what serves the highest good in pure love. Guard my spirit, my home, and my relationships. Surround me with light, insight, and divine guidance. As above, so below. So mote it be. Blessed be. Ask permission of the cards and my tools to allow me to use them, give me guidance and clarity, and help me to reveal the highest good for any and all who are watching. Thank you. As above, so below, so mote it be. Blessed be. Okay. I grabbed a glass that I always fill with a little bit of moon water and wine to bless the inside of my body as well as my mind before I prepare to read my tarot, or other people's tarot as well. Okay, so for today's tarot readings, I'm going to be using the following decks. This tarot deck here we have is the Santa Muerte Tarot. This is actually the very first tarot deck I ever got. It called to me, and it's one of my favorites to use. The next tarot deck you saw in my last reading is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I fell in love with it because I have a background in healthcare. I love the skulls and the artwork, and it's become something that I'm really attuned to. We're going to be using one of my newer oracle decks today. This deck here is the Midnight Oracle. I actually found this online and fell in love with it when I looked at the artwork on the cards, and I've discovered that I really like this particular deck. Next oracle deck that we will be using is this deck here. It is the Magic of You Oracle. I love it. It's one of those oracles that's very positive, much like the Moonology Oracle that we used last week. But I really love what it has to say. It's very encouraging. And then last but not least, I have a couple of fun decks. We used my Rebel deck Oracle last time that didn't come with a book. This particular Oracle deck is the Naughty Oracle. So the cards kind of speak for themselves. I don't want to reveal them ahead of time, so we're just going to leave them like that. So I'm going to set each deck aside. I will shuffle when I get prepared to use the deck. So I'm going to lay these to the side, and we will begin with the Santa Muerte Tarot. So, and like always, I will shuffle this direction 5 times. 1. Whoa. Sometimes that happens. It's a big, thick deck. I have little hands. 2. 3. 4. And 5. So if you're wondering about the little mat that I work with, I actually crocheted this mat myself. I blessed the yarn prior to using it. I have used it since the beginning of me reading tarot, and I feel like it brings me, I don't know, blessings as I read. It helps my reading, so this is why I use it. I chose it for the bright colors, the yarn. I feel those colors are actually representative of all of the chakras. So I feel like it brings that energy and just puts everything in alignment. And that's why I like to use it. So 1, we're shuffling this way now. Whoa. 2, 3, 4, and 5. This deck likes to jump out at me sometimes because it's a bigger deck, a lot thicker, so to speak. So we're going to go through, take the cards that reach out and call to me. And we're looking for one more. Alright, I gotta remember and get better at doing this in front of the camera so you all can see. Alright. I will set that deck to the side. There we go. Alright, let's see what we have. We have the High Priestess in reverse. We have the 6 of Wands upright, the Chariot upright, the Magician upright, big energy this week, and Judgment upright. Man, oh man, oh man, big stuff so far. So let's take a look and see what the book has to tell us. So what I really like about this particular tarot deck is I get what's called the advice of the dead. So what I deem that as is it's my ancestors, it's the advice of those that have passed on, letting us know, giving us guidance. I believe that I have 3 specific spirit guides. One is the spirit of my mother who passed away in 2013. The other would be the spirit of my little sister who passed away in 2009. And the third is a female relative on my biological father's side. I do not know who she is, but I know that she is someone I'm related to in my past. So, all right. So we're going to take a look first at the High Priestess. And as always, when I get reverses, I'll read you the upright and the reverse meaning so you can get an idea of what both will be. So it says, the High Priestess represents wisdom such as the rigor and commitment to attain this through study, evaluation, management, and also through consultation and closeness of a female figure, maternal and mature. She suggests a period of waiting or perhaps isolation during which it is possible to think deeply about what we need and to then grasp the key that will open that what was previously accumulated. The risk of this process, however, is to remain too close within oneself, to accumulate perhaps secrets, and then to be prey to pride, laziness, passivity. Much like a bird that silently observes from above, from its point of view without acting. The advice of the dead. Proceed with study and meditate on the best road that will take you where you can realize your project without forgetting to value what you were accumulating or keeping. So I feel like this goes right along with what we were talking about last week with having to let go of some things, having to have a time of stasis where we don't need to be stagnant, but it's like a limbo time before things release. And this, I believe, is just a reminder that you can become bitter during that time frame and close yourself off and keep the information that you have kind of to yourself and not use it to benefit others, what you're learning during this time frame. But, you can also just like be passive in this moment where, yeah, you're waiting in limbo, but you're not doing anything with it. And I feel like this is telling you that that's what you're in danger of running into. Nobody likes to wait. Nobody likes when, I don't feel. Maybe some people like just being kind of passive people within their lives. I highly doubt it though. I think as humans, we need action, movement, that kind of thing to keep us engaged and keep us going. And sometimes we need those waiting times. There's a reason. There's timing that comes into play. It's like you get this gut feeling. Let me give you a for instance. You get this gut feeling before you get ready to go to work. Well, actually, here and even better. You're getting ready to go for work. And all of a sudden, like your curling iron takes, goes on the fritz and you have to come up with a different way to do your hair and you end up making yourself 10 to 15 minutes late. But while you're on your way to work, on your way exactly where you would be driving, you drive past an accident. Well, if you had gone on that time frame that you normally would be on, your curling iron didn't hit the fritz, you would possibly have been in that accident. So whatever happened spared you. This waiting time could be sparing you from something that would not be beneficial. So when we're stuck with times where we have to wait, where we have to be patient, understand that Spirit has our highest good at heart, in interest. And maybe there's a reason behind it that we can't see. So sometimes we just have to accept it and we may never know what that reason was. But sometimes we do get to know. Count yourself lucky when you do get to know. But if you don't look at it negatively. Just understand that there's a reason behind it and go with the flow on that one. Don't be stagnant during that waiting period though. Keep learning, keep growing, doing what you can do so that when the time comes to move forward again, you're prepared to do so. Okay? I believe that's what that card is talking about. So moving on, we're going to go to the Six of Wands. Now, wands are action cards. Very quick action cards usually about movement. I mean, you can even see within this card, there's a bunch of people in a crowd and they appear to be moving forward, so to speak. So something to consider there, give you a little bit of a hint on it. All right, here's what it says. It says, the dynamism, energy, and creativity of this suit finds expression in this card of victory, openness, and public celebration. It is possible to advance in your career, to realize profits and interests long desired. It can, however, also bring with it negative aspects of delays, deceleration, or abandonment of previously programmed projects. The advice of the dead says, commit with boldness and with complete awareness of your gifts and your energy, but control your desires and expectations that could cause you to make silly mistakes. Once again, I think this just ties back into that whole idea that we're kind of in this limbo spot. Victory is coming, but don't allow the time frame you have to wait to get you so bogged down that you focus on the negative. Focus on the positive, the victory that's coming forward of what you're going to be able to do moving ahead. That's what I believe that particular card is about. So moving on, we've got the Chariot. When I think about Chariot, I think about movement. I think about, a chariot's in a race. They go quickly. So let's see what the Chariot card has to say. It says, the road has been cleared and the chariot is ready for action. To travel, conquer, to spread our influence to the world and inspire others in their own efforts. This is the dynamic arcana of control, triumph, and conquest. A dynamic harmony that pushes us towards a new and engaging phase that will see our efforts repaid. However, when a problem arises, this dynamic push is inverted, and there's a risk of remaining static, of inconclusiveness, seeing obstacles at every crossroad. It could also degenerate into counterproductive and uncontrolled ambitions. The advice of the dead says, act and take on with courage the road you decided to face, while conserving a certain prudence in not letting yourself be overwhelmed by your emotions. Okay? Like many things, everything presents us with a negative way to go and a positive way to go in life. And this is just warning us that we can allow even positive things to go in a negative direction when we don't take them the right way. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. Yes, you're getting to move forward, but you don't want to get a big head about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You're doing great. You're going to be moving forward. You're going to be helping. It's going to be a very positive thing. But don't get the idea in your head that you do this all alone on your own. That something and someone or something did not help you along the path, because it always does. There is nothing we do in this life on our very own. We always have some form of assistance. So acknowledge that and keep moving forward. The Magician. I love the Magician card. I like particularly that these candles up here, they represent enlightenment. It's like there's a burst of knowledge there, like a picture, like a light bulb above his head. Great ideas. And you'll notice that there's little bits of all the different suits and all the different ways of, like, divination, so to speak, that kind of a thing. It's like the magician they utilize all of their resources to provide this, to come up with this idea. It's very inclusive of everything that they know. So I take it that way. It says, we are facing a beginning, and we can begin with the choices in harmony with our deepest will, letting the primordial fire that illuminates the head of the magician act as the spark. Potentials such as his talent, his abilities to persuade, or astuteness are at their maximum level in a creative and receptive equilibrium, catalyzed by his instruments such as the wand and the chalice. Where, however, the will is not clear but clouded, as if covered by a veil, it is then easy to act imprudently, to have prejudices, to hesitate, or to remain in a stalled situation, a victim of indecision. Pardon me. So the advice of the dead says, do not waste time. Act. Okay? Do not waste time. Act. You can trust your own abilities without delay, but carefully evaluate where you aim your potential and the object of your choices. So here's the thing. All of what we want to do can be totally great with perfect intentions, but we can aim it in the wrong direction. I liken this to, let's say you've got a person that you communicate with, like a friend or whatever. They are just always this very negative Nancy kind of person. And you're constantly, reminding them like, hey, you do really good at this. Hey, you point out those positive things, but for whatever reason, they just seem not to get it. They always hit that negative side of things. There is a verse in the Bible, and I know it seems crazy I bring the Bible into this, but this is what this reminds me of. It says, talks about casting your pearls before swine. Pigs don't understand the value of jewelry, of beauty, of rarity things. That's why they refer to pearls. In other words, don't waste your time and your energy in the wrong direction. If someone takes it, great. Keep pouring in, keep working. If they don't, move on to somewhere else that will accept it. It doesn't mean that person won't come back somewhere along the way and remember what you said and then take it to heart. But trust that if an ending, if a situation is not for the greatest good, let it end. Don't hold on to it. Don't keep trying and keep trying and keep trying all for naught. Sometimes people just, it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to work out the way you want with them. So it's not always easy to accept, but it's just what we got to do. Okay? Make sure you use your talents and your gifts wisely. Be prudent in who you choose. Judgment. All right, it says, the master of the four elements, judgment calls from above in a loud voice, a powerful and important renewal, the birth of a new conscience, a new family, a reawakening, and the liberation of something that we kept closed and isolated. This card represents a call to express our vocation, but also to discover, to evaluate, or be evaluated and judged. When the negative side prevails, it brings about consequences such as the fear of failure, infantile behavior, crisis, and insecurities that will tempt us to remain closed within the coffin which we are called upon to leave. The advice of the dead. Having judged and pondered the situation, act rapidly and indulge the desire that is awakening awakening in you. Here's the thing, everybody. I talked about how we were in a stasis period. I believe that the way this deck keeps moving is this an indication that that time of reflection or whatever, if it hasn't presented the ending of it, it will very quickly. And you need to have taken proper stock of everything, okay? You need to have written it down, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to move forward in the positive direction. Taking everything that you've learned and starting fresh. And using that knowledge going forward. A new beginning. It's a very positive thing in my mind. So, I like where this is headed. I'd like to pull the other tarot deck and let's see how it clarifies. So, drop my little book. We're going to grab our deck and we shall shuffle. Whoa. One. I hope everybody's had a good week so far. Mine has been an excellent week. I started doing some exercising this week and walking. I haven't been super consistent with it. I've gone a couple days without doing it, but I will get back on track. However, I do notice that I feel a bit more energy, and that's very helpful moving forward. I'd like to not only continue with the tarot, but continue to make myself a healthier person and doing the things that need to be done to stay healthy. So, plus it's really nice to get out in nature and just really connect out there. I love the outdoors. I love being outside. And thankful that I live where I live, where even though it's a little cold sometimes, I can bundle up a bit for the morning walk. It's still nice enough that I don't have to not go whatsoever. So that is our 5 there. We'll do our 5 here. We're just having all kinds of flipping today. Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, let's see what Spirit pulls for us today. Okay. All right. We have, on top of the High Priestess, we have the 7 of Swords. On top of the Wands, we have the Chariot again. Nice reiteration. Then we have on top of the Chariot, the 5 of Swords. Wow, movement, 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 people. The Page of Pentacles on top of the Magician. And the Emperor on top of Judgment. So, let's take a look and see what this has to say for us. So, we're going to start down here with our 7 of Swords, or Blades. All right, it says, sneaking around is the theme of the 7 of Blades. You're trying to get away with something you shouldn't. And this card is here to let you know that you aren't as sly as you think you are. As with the 5 of Blades, you may be the victim of someone's trickery. A lot of planning has gone on behind the scenes in order to pull off the plan against you, so be diligent with your boundaries. Whether you are the cheater or the cheated, an apology can work wonders. A battle of wits is easily ended when you put your pride aside and try to do the right thing, even if it pains you. Here's what I think. I think, yes, it could apply to somebody that, like there's actually a conflict going on in your world. But at the same time, if there isn't an actual conflict happening, it's a conflict within yourself. Remember I said not to let yourself run stagnant, not to let the negativity take over. That's a lie, that negative stuff. And that's what this is talking about, that you're lying to yourself. Don't let that happen. Ignore that. Focus on the positive. Move forward. Take that High Priestess and turn that energy upside down again. Turn it back right. Okay? That's what I feel that means. All right, moving on to the Chariot. I always like reading the different interpretations in different tarot decks because it does give you a little bit of insight, sometimes more into a card. So the Chariot here, it says, the appearance of the Chariot signals that now is the time when you can move mountains with your willpower and determination. You're being given the opportunity to ride straight into victory, but you have to make sure you set out on the right path first. Everything is moving at warp speed, but it can seem as though the horses pulling your chariot are heading in different directions. So one of your biggest strengths is the ability to collect the reins and make these opposing forces work in harmony to head in the right direction. Overall, the Chariot is a very positive omen when starting a new project or even a physical journey. You've left your ego behind. You can move forward with confidence. Just a further reiteration of the Wands, that victory we talked about. These over here, moving forward with confidence, not allowing your ego to take over and that kind of a thing. Staying in that positive movement type of direction. So, excellent. Moving on to the 5 of Swords. I find that interesting that we have the 7 of Swords and talked about the 5 of Swords, and now we're going to get into the 5 of Swords. So, Let us see what the Five of Swords has to say. The Five of Blades says the Five of Blades is all about dishonor and conflict. Sometimes you win an argument or competition using methods that are cruel and needlessly painful to another person. Taking into account the other person's point of view can be beneficial to your conscience and your reputation, especially if you are the victor instead of the victim. If you are the person who is lost in this situation, do your best not to sulk, but take the loss in stride. Sinking to the dishonorable level, victor's level, will only leave you feeling worse than before. Instead, lead by example. Here's the thing. This movement forward, everybody's watching, okay? People are paying attention. And how you move forward and speak of both yourself or others, depending on what that situation is referring to specifically, how you manage that will speak volumes about the situation and that victory moving forward. It will be that much sweeter if you're operating with integrity. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to others. Don't be deceiving. You can't deceive yourself for very long, and you certainly can't deceive spirit. The truth will come to light, and if you're trying to be sneaky in any way, shape, or form, it will backfire at some point in time. And it may not backfire anytime really soon. You could get really, you could prosper for a really long time, and then all of a sudden you're going to fall. Okay, it happens. So make sure that as you're moving forward, as you're going into this next phase, this victorious time, that victory is sweet because you're doing so with integrity. Okay? Moving on to the Page of Pentacles. So Pentacles is very much about the tangible things, not just about money, but also about like the physical realm, the physical things that we have and that kind of thing. So let's see what this has to say. All right. So the Page of Coins as a person says, the Page of Coins is studious and diligent and always has her nose in a book. She loves to learn, and although she is introverted, she's always willing to share what she has learned, but only when asked. Because she can be shy, she often misses out on some of the more lighthearted aspects of life. As a situation, the Page of Coins encourages you to buckle down and study. Perhaps you are thinking of going back to school or taking up a new hobby. Money is on your mind, and coming up with creative ways to bring in extra cash would benefit you right now. That's pretty straightforward. And I think in order to be able to move forward in victory in life and going forward, you really do have to be prudent with your money. Life is expensive these days, especially here in the U.S. So, we're all trying to come up with ways to be wise stewards of what we have. But you need to be a wise steward of your gifts as well. Remember I talked about, not casting your pearls before swine. Be mindful, be conservative about your resources. It talks in here about how the Page of Coins, the Page of Pentacles, she doesn't volunteer her knowledge. She waits for it to be asked of her. Be selective on who you consult with, who you share with, who you pass your wisdom along to, okay? Make sure it's going to people that are worthy of it. You worked hard to get to that place in your life. Let them earn the knowledge as well. Does that make sense? It's like if your parents were to buy you a car straight out, like 16 years old, brand new car, fancy, expensive car. Most of the time, kids that have that happen to them, they just drive it willy-nilly. If their parents are paying the insurance and they paid for the car and whatnot, it doesn't faze them. They didn't have to work to get to it. It was given. So it's not as appreciated. But when that person had to mow 120 lawns just to get the money together to put down on that car, and now they're going to have to continue that activity to keep paying for that car and the insurance and the gas and the everything. they're going to take much better care of it because they know what it took to get it. You were the one who went on this journey. You know what it took to get you here. So be mindful where you share that information and those tricks along the way. Not to say you shouldn't. You shouldn't help others. And sometimes you're going to help people and they're not going to help you back. I'm not saying that you need to do everything out of a motive of you're going to get something out of it per se. I don't mean it like that. What I mean is just being knowledgeable about the fact that not everybody has your best interest at heart in this real world. Trust the things and the ones that do. Okay? And last but not least, we have the Emperor. So, it says the Emperor is the craftsman of the tarot who has created a solid foundation from bold vision, just like the Empress. His inspiration lies in nature, but where she appreciates its beauty, he wonders how to make it work for him. The Emperor shows great foresight and control in all situations. He is wise and assertive and focuses his energy on building and maintaining his empire. Are you feeling confident in your ability to get things done? The Emperor appears when you need a push or some reassurance. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. I'm trying to cut it off. I apologize. Says the Emperor appears when you need a push or some reassurance. You already have the expertise. You just need to apply it to your daily routine. So, remember, we're taking a step forward. We're moving into the new. You have the power, the ability. You worked hard to get to that victory stage. Okay? Make it work the best way for you. And remember, you're the only one responsible for you and moving forward in life. Ultimately, how things happen for us or how it's all about how we react to it or how we, accept the things going forward. So make things work out for you and for your highest good. Be on the lookout for those kinds of things. All right, so that was very good, very interesting. I like how it's tying into what we did last week. So I am going to now move on to the Midnight Oracle. I'm going to shuffle my deck. And we will pull one card from this deck. One. Whoa, I hate it when they do that. Two. 3. Whoa. I hate that. 4. It's a newer deck, so it hasn't gotten the flexibility just yet that it would normally have. So, kind of why it's doing that to me. Plus, I'm not a very good shuffler at times. Alright, now 1. We got 2. 3. 4 and 5. And actually feel called to that particular little card there. So we're going to lay that one right there. Okay. And then we will move on and we will shuffle our Magic of You Oracle. One. It's a very skinny deck, which is kind of nice, even though it's wide. It's still a lot easier to shuffle when there's fewer cards, which is super helpful. 3. 4. And 5. Okay. And then we're going to shuffle these. 2. 3. Whoa. Well, I think we're going to take what flipped this time. Kind of weird how oracle cards do that, but you know, on occasion, that's what happens. So keep those two. And then we will do our naughty oracle last, okay? Oh, here we go. We got, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my goodness. One. Once again, I haven't used this very often, so 2. 3. 4. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bottom card just really did talk to me, so there we go. All right, so let us begin. We have the Blooming Veil for our Midnight Oracle. And we'll actually go ahead and read the book first, like we've been doing with the other decks. So, the Blooming Veil, number 17. Or, I'm sorry, number 47. Alright, so the Blooming Veil, it says, awakening, renewal, and seeing beyond illusions. This card represents a moment of spiritual clarity where hidden truths are revealed and personal growth flourishes. So what truths are you ready to uncover? Are you willing to shed the veil and embrace the growth waiting for you? Where is your life renewal calling? So yes, remember I said we've been in like this stagnant situation. We've had to wait in limbo. Something good is coming, something positive. It's a change. We have to be ready to embrace it. This is a reminder. This is coming very quickly, and you really need to be thinking about, are you ready for this? Be ready for it. Be ready to embrace it. So I feel like this is kind of confirmation of that. Next, we have Epiphany, reveal your gifts. I'll lay this kind of over here. And then we have Serendipity, merge with the flow. Boy, oh boy, just reading those by itself is confirmation enough. This movement forward, it's that epiphany, it's that light bulb. Remember we talked about with the magician, you're ready to move forward. You've revealed your gifts. You're ready to use them. You're ready to go on. That's what this next movement and this next path is about. And it talks about merging with the flow. Remember I said, trusting spirit, trusting its guidance, trusting its wisdom, making sure it's for your highest good. That's what I believe that's talking about. But we're going to read both of those just so we get some further clarification. So, for Epiphany, it says, the girl of Epiphany is caught enjoying the sweet scent of her own success. But now it's time to share this success with the world. Have you been keeping something from others? Something that would surprise or delight them? The world wants what you have to share. Awaken to your hidden talent. You are more than enough. There are hidden gifts, a new skill, new passion bubbling up, ready to pour out of you at this time, just as the gold pours out of the girls of Epiphany's arm. What is a deep goal? Something you may have considered impossible. It's your duty to unveil and release this potential inside you. The time to act is now. The universe will conspire in your favor if you take action now. Okay? So what I like about these is it gives you a little ritual to do. And so this is something you guys can try this week. It says, the power of yes. So for 3 days, say yes to every request and opportunity. Be guided only by yes and where this willingness takes you. Witness the special skills and talents unleashed within you, knowing that anything is possible when you allow it to be so. Oh, I think that's excellent, excellent advice for moving forward into something new like this. So let's see what serendipity has to say. Serendipity. It says, be aware that opportunities are lining up around you. Merge into the flow of life. Trust it in all its light and shadows. They have brought you to this point. Maybe unbeknownst to you, you are perfectly poised for opportunity right now. Trust your efforts and recognize the signs of serendipity occurring around you. This means you are where you are meant to be, doing what you are meant to be doing. Be conscious of follow-up and follow-through. Good fortune forms around you. The girl of serendipity merges into the leaves of life, and they welcome her into their nourishing, lush embrace. Like them, she is growing in abundance and opportunity. Fresh potential awakens. Everything happens in its right time and place, exactly as it's meant to. Remember I said our time to move forward is coming. Our time of positive opportunity, all of that is coming forward. We need to be ready and prepared to just go with that flow. Trust it. So the ritual here is the talismanic walk. It says, take a walk in a natural private environment. As you do, stack stones and weave leaves and vines together in various places as talismanic offerings to the universal flow, indicating that you are merged and moving with its intended best direction for you. I really like that. I like the idea of incorporating nature and really just doing something that's tangible to help you in your path and in your walk. And it doesn't always have to be these kinds of things. You can simply be a person who prays, and that's enough. Taking a walk in nature and praying. What I would really like, though, is if you take the time to do either of those particular activities, those rituals, I would love to hear how it goes for you, details about what you did and what it meant to you and how it's impacted you. So hopefully I'll see some of that stuff in the comments, and we'll get to hear some really cool stories that come out of it. All right. Last but not least, I always like to end kind of on a different kind of note. We have our naughty oracle, and it says, boogeyman bullshit. Release your fears. Now is not the time for fear, my friends. This is a reiteration. You are moving forward into something great and positive that's going to have an impact in this life for you, an impact on others. You can't do that when you're scared. The boogeyman doesn't exist, guys. And your fear, the only way fear has power is if you let it. Don't let it have the power or the control over you. You can do this. You have this. You are equipped. You are capable. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time. I love that this really reiterated what we talked about last week and kind of indicated that movement is coming soon, very quickly. So I'm going to end again as I do with our post-tarot prayer. It says, with gratitude to spirit, ancestors, and elements, I close this reading in peace and reverence. May the wisdom received settle gently into the heart and mind. Release what does not serve and carry forward what aligns with truth, healing, and highest good. May we all walk protected, empowered, and guided on our path. As above, so below, so mote it be. Blessed be. Thank you once again. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, leave me comments. I look forward to seeing you all again this next week, and I hope you have a very blessed week.